Talofa and welcome to the Globe Show, Girls Leading Our World podcast, brought to you by Brown Girl Woke and funded by Australia HighCom Samoa. We're excited to have our first podcast with Rosa Solomona. If you haven't heard of her, then you have never been in Samoa. Let me give you a bio of this beautiful human right in front of me, Rosa. She's a president and co-founder of Solfa Music Samoa. With her vast experience in music and the arts, she's a mentor to many Samoa young and aspiring musicians. Welcome, Rosa. How are you doing today?
And Doris, I'm very well, thank you. Very excited to be here in studio with you.
We're excited to have you. The podcast is meant to showcase amazing young women doing work, and you've been doing work for a very long time. Does it feel that long?
You know, when you sit down and reflect, you think that it's not that long, but then you think about the many years, like, oh my God, I've been here for more than a decade.
See, and we're
Where's my
gonna.
20s gone?
How long?
Basically.
How long has it been?
So when I returned from New Zealand and just kind of went straight into teaching and working with the community and the National University, it's been since 2012. So it's been about 12 years, like working here in Samoa.
So, how old were you when you first started?
Oh my gosh, how old am I? I think I was turning 22. 22, the 21, 22 officially, but just the years before that, I've kind of just, been doing the work alongside my family, alongside my parents.
And can you give us more explanation for people out there that don't know who your parents are?
Okay, so to for everyone again. So my name is Rosaiviti Solomona. I'm Samoan Rotuman. In Samoa, my father is from Papasatawan, Savai, and Faleasiu. And our family also lives here at Maluseu. My mom is from the village of Motusa in Rotuma. So a lot of people don't know where Rotuma is. It's 300 miles north of Fiji. It's looked after by Fiji, and to many Rotumans, they think it is the Garden of Eden. That's why you can't find it on the map. Yeah.
I love it. And that is where your music comes from. So can you share a little bit more?
Yes. Here in Samoa, so my last name is Solomona. I come from, my father was the late Wita Solomona, and my grandfather was the late Matautia Pene Solomona. I think here we're known as family musicians, and there are a few families. So I try to no, some of us have made music our life, and the smarter ones have gotten better careers. So safe to say I'm a third generation music legacy on my father's side, and I am also a third generation legacy on my mother's side. So my grandfathers have parallel life stories. Both were fit-in turners, mechanics engineers, and both were celebrated musicians with their own people. My Rotuman grandfather is quite well known in the Methodist Church in Fiji and Rotuma. Big composer, award-winning choir master. So I acknowledge both sides. Here in Samoa, more contextualized to my father, but whenever we go back to Fiji, there's quite, my grandfather's quite known, and his children are all like choir masters and.
So it just makes sense that you would start so early in your life. You had no options. Did you have options?
So I think my father he was older than my mom. I think this is really important because I have 3 older half siblings who knew my father when he was younger. So myself and my younger brother came into my father's life when he was already quite old. So I think from what stories have been shared with our family, his approach to music teaching was different for the first 3 and us. Me, it was a bit particularly different because I like to say I was the favorite. I got away with a lot of things with my dad, but my brother after me, not so much. So there were rules in our house to do with the discipline with our music. Like if you want to play hockey, you need to prioritize orchestra first, so those things, which was a fact for me. And my younger brother was not allowed to have dinner until he had his 2-hour practice. And it paid off, I think. I think it's paid off.
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean,
We played, well, children, our cousins and friends were growing up playing PlayStation. We were playing piano.
And how many instruments do you play? Can you name them? Just name them.
So I play the classical strings. So I play the piano, which means I can also play the viola. It's the same technique, basically. Easy to play the cello, so I play cello when I'm needed. I had a thing for the double bass, which is so cool. I thought it was so cool to have a girl play double bass amongst a band of all boys. Played piano. That was a must growing up. Took up the flute for a while, saxophone as well. Yeah, so saxophone and flute are almost very similar, so that's quite. Brass did not agree with me, but my favorite would be voice. Yeah.
Because you also are, I don't know any other opera singer.
Yeah. Oh, just like I have a thing. I was training for classical voice. Yeah, when I was a bit younger. I'm still young.
Yes, you're still young.
Still young.
In Samoa, if you didn't hit 35, you're still considered young.
Yeah.
So I have a few deep questions, I think. Can you share a pivotal moment that ignited your passion for leadership and community service?
I can't say that there's a particular pivotal moment in my life. Going into leadership, there was no such thing as I'll go to a leadership forum, or no
Blueprint.
Yes, or there's no actual program for leadership in high school leading up. I think when you're surrounded by natural leaders, you're kind of indirectly being groomed for such a role. But I would think in terms of going in the front and actually leading, it would have happened possibly in 2012. Actually, sorry. Back in 2006, a lot of people don't know, but that was when the National Orchestra of Samoa was actually formed and launched in 2006. I was only 15, so I was the first chair violinist, and that in itself is a leading role. So every time you see an orchestra, the very first violinist, that is the leader of the entire orchestra. So, yeah, that would have been. I was thrust into that position. Yeah.
And it wasn't hard because you had a father figure and a mother figure that's always been. So you just. Did you just follow them, or you just like, how people are like, I'm never gonna discipline my kids like how my parents did, so I'm gonna do it different. Did you do it different, or were you worse?
I really don't know. You have to ask mom and dad for that. I just remember now, leading up to the launch in 2006, there was a particular rehearsal where it hit me that I was to rise above others because of the chair that I was sitting in the orchestra. And it was a bad run of one of the pieces. And right after that bad run, like the chord was so bad, I realized my violin had gone off. So classical strings in this heat, they easily go off. So I went straight into tuning my violin, which is something that put off the conductor. So I was publicly humiliated for that. So I realized, okay, I think that was the moment that it hit me that I need to rise above others, particularly when I was young and I was a female. And in a country like Samoa, you have to be extra, extra, extra amazing to rise above. Just,
You have to have thick skin.
Exactly. I remember just being mocked. So I think it upset the dynamic of the whole rehearsal. And so I had to really learn from that. I realized it wasn't my fault after years of from that traumatic experience, but it made me realize, okay, if you're in a leading role, you have to rise above everyone else by 500%. Yeah.
And know that there can be better leaders than this.
Yeah.
This can't happen again.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I think those are the pivotal points. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want this ever happen to anybody.
Exactly.
I think that's most leaders. Some people only do it to their siblings, but I think for the leader, they serve everybody. So I see that with you. How do you integrate mindfulness or spiritual practices into your leadership journey? I think that's why we have churches every 5 steps in Samoa, because you need Jesus every 5 steps in this country.
I think, and I believe a lot in the support of society. If I realize I've been surrounded by just many spiritual people, and I realized that I needed them around me to make sure that I do my job. At some point, you need to take control of your own faith system, your own beliefs. You need to make sure that the first thing that you listen to in the morning is a Bible verse or a sermon. And I don't do that every day, but I realize when I do put on Joel Osteen sermon on YouTube first thing in the morning, my day is better. And when my day is better, everyone's days are better. It really is, because we control the dynamic of, like for me, my rehearsals, my classes. A lot of it also has to be forethought. After 11 years teaching at the university, every semester, it is the same issues that come. It just recycles. So I had to make the decision to check myself and know that this issue from last semester is most probably going to come in this semester. How am I going to deal with it? And I've seen many women, even men, I've seen them deal with issues with kindness. It is so easy in our industry to just lose it because of our addiction to perfection, and not everyone is on your level. So I had to constantly be reminded. My mom would message me. She's like, remember to pray before you go into class.
You have to. And honestly, one thing Samoa always promotes is preventable care. And when we talk about preventable care, it doesn't only have to be about health. It's also about learning the routines of people. And you find, like for myself, I find it's my fault. I should have known better. I never blame the person. It was like, this happened before. Why am I not changing the routine? If I know that kids don't have rides, let's make sure that I find a way for rides so that's diminished.
Yes.
This semester, what could have been stopped that would make it better? Oh, I need to talk to parents. We'll make sure I go and talk to parents before the semester starts. That through this year, there's concerts that we need them there, and we promise they'll come home at the right time, right?
That's true. We're responsible to the safety of these people that we can tell ourselves, we're doing this for you, but they're not always on the same page. Some parents don't fully understand the program or the opportunities that we have for children, for their kids, and we have so much that we want to give at times freely, and when there is a disconnect between like us and the parents or their guardians, it causes a lot of problems. I mean, even just this morning, I was messaging our students like, hey, have your parents read the email I've sent? Double checking, because I can totally message mom, message your parents. So in going back into the wellness and everything, we've dealing with young people, you're dealing with teenagers and everything that comes with them, like the hormonal imbalance, the push and pull from their social circles, the smoking and the drinking. And
how does that feel? You are young still too. How does that make you feel? Is it what you said before? You just know you had to rise above it.
Yes. We're not in a time where it is okay to like a slap here and there to young people, because we're in a different time now.
Yes.
That was okay 2 generations ago. That kind of discipline was consented because it was culturally accepted. We're living in a time now where I believe in rehab, or well, because I'm not a counselor of any kind, but I do believe that there's a kinder way to address the issue. Some of our young people close up because they're constantly being, one, ridiculed, they're constantly being okinyed. So I find now the kindness is the way to go for them to open up so that we can get to the real issue.
And it's free.
Yes.
Guys, kindness is free. It's crazy how you could be kind to somebody and you could tell that they've never had that. And then they question, and then you look at them and they question it. Like, what do you want from me? I was like, have we gone that far where being kind is always wanting something from you? It can't just be a free gesture.
Yeah.
And it's hard here. It's hard times. We're just getting out of COVID as well. It's not like it's easy after COVID, and we're still connecting with everybody. So yeah, it's been hard. How do you deal with knowing that you come with so much legacies and you're trying to give time to young people, and the parents don't understand, or the kids are ungrateful? And it's only because, and I think you have to, like you said before, you have to rise up. You have to understand that they didn't grow up with discipline.
Yeah.
And you're getting them at 19, 20.
Yeah.
When you have to unlearn this stuff.
Exactly.
How do you pray enough?
Yeah.
You gotta be Buddha, Jesus, Black Jesus, baby Jesus.
Yes. I know for our program, a good relationship with the parents is a must. I personally don't want to have any other parent in any time in the future have parents message me like, "Oh, have you seen my child? Is my child with you?" And it's one of the things that myself and the co-founders of Solfa with the target audience for now for us is not so much the young people, it's the parents. One, because they're paying for the program. But two, once you get their trust, it's such a good place to be at. I've not had a lot of experience myself. I know my mom has. My mom has, because she started off what Solfa is now. We're a continued legacy of my parents' work. So the community program that they set up for music that was supposed to be the feeder program for the National Orchestra back into 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is the continued program. So I know that she had gone through a lot. I know she comes from a different culture to begin with. She is the boss in our family. And
because Rotuman's matriarchy, right? They believe matrilineal.
Yes. So she is the boss in our family, but when we come out of the family scenario into work, we try to find that balance between my parents. Like, okay, I know dad's this, but what mom says goes. Basically, even at work. So she dealt a lot with the parents. And I remember one of the main issues, and it still carries on today, is having parents understand that the children are their first church. We've come a long way from, in a way, selecting families that prioritize their children first. I come from the experience in that is we've had parents not pay a $10 fee for a lesson, but they would walk past the music house in Vaivase with the food for the fefeau or for the church gathering, Whereas when their children come to us for their lessons, they're hungry. And I don't understand.
I see that across.
Yeah.
Not only music, everything.
Yeah,
every classes.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad, and we used to joke about it, but as a family, we're like, dad would always feed the kids, before their lessons. And I just thought, man, what a waste. Like, they're eating our food. But now we realize, now that we're taking over Solfa, we realize the child cannot think if he is not fed or rested. So I remember there was a trumpet lesson where it was cut short, and he told the student, "Go upstairs and ask Sue, my mom, for food." So that's just it's a real pastoral. It's a real pastoral. It's a pastoral side to teaching, to being a leader. And that's, and that all comes into the well-being of your program. If you're not well, spiritually, physically, I find that physically because I need to get my health in check. And I realize that if I'm not feeling well today, it's going to affect my dance rehearsal. It's going to affect the way, my tone to my students and to my dancers, and they're going to feel it. And it's not a nice, productive space to be in.
And that's why I think some kids don't take the extracurricular courses because they're hungry. Like, okay, this is gonna be extra time. Yeah.
No bus fare.
No bus fare for after. It's extra time. I'm gonna be hungry. Do I go? And then the system that we teach here is like you only go to things that make money.
Yeah.
But man, being the knowledge that you will have, the need for it when now we have Chogam that's gonna have, and we could talk about this later.
Yeah.
You're making music for Chogam. This is a time where like, hey, all that time that you thought you weren't gonna get nothing from, this is your time. It baffles me all the time, like how hard it is to bring kids together. But if they're going back home and getting, yelled at, like, why wouldn't you quit? Yeah. Why would getting yelled at to learn an instrument that will better yourself?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Your self-esteem, being mentored, and getting yelled at.
Yeah.
So might as well go do trouble, go steal stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather get yelled at for something that I'm actually doing that's bad.
That's right. We had an unfortunate experience last year. We had a student, she was a star student in dance and music in the choir. Her mom was quite abusive over the phone. We just made sure that we had a letter going out to the students saying, okay, rehearsals will, depending, because of the nature of a full dress rehearsal, it'll possibly finish between this time and this time. And the mother didn't like that. So she was quite abusive over the phone. And then the director of the show said, well, she's not going to perform until the mom comes and has a word. So she went as far as leaders above us to get her daughter back on the stage, and she wasn't apologetic at all. So when I think it was about half an hour before the concert, the mom eventually came down. She was still fuming mad, and then the director and her had a conversation, and the mother then realized what she saw as a hindrance, because the daughter had a bit of a speech defect. What she saw as a hindrance, we never saw, because in everything else she excelled. She, oh my God, I did choir last year for Beautiful September. We started with 102 singers, and then I auditioned, and only 50 made it to the stage. So, that's like, you got to earn your spot on that stage. You're not going to get free marks for nothing, mate. So there was a whole process throughout the semester. But we had to tell her she was the only audition that was perfect. There was no go back and learn your part, go back and learn your words, because they were learning like a Tongan song and a couple of like Samoan songs and a couple of English songs. And she was selected for a dance that was only privileged for those who were top of the dance class. But, the mom had robbed her daughter of that experience and of those marks. So it hurts me every time I see this particular girl around. I'm like, that girl was worthy of a scholarship. There was like absolutely no the mother came just blaring guns, and we were like, what was happening? We were still within the time frame, so obviously she did not read the letter for understanding. And I say this because the parent's role in everyone, in all the children, is so important. It is. You can't take, especially in our culture, even though our kids turn 18 or they're legal, they're still living with their parents.
In their 30s.
Yeah, in their 30s and living with their parents. And they still need to seek their permission, seek their trust.
I think in the work that you do, and everyone sees the beautiful concerts, is stories like this that you have to deal with that they don't know. That is, it's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart out there. I think that's my next question is what can you describe a challenge you faced in your leadership role and the lessons you learned from it?
Yeah, particularly, I'm not going to say names, but I'm better for it. That's all I can say. A few years ago, we had a well-accomplished artist in residence at the university, and because he was a musician, he was attached to us, and it was great. I loved, like, I always try to tell myself, you need to be in these sessions, even if you're not performing, but just be in there to learn. How does a teacher build relationship with students, so on and so forth. So for me, those are my personal games. Yeah, so I remember our MC didn't show up. So
Was it young Sefa? Just kidding.
so MC didn't show up, and I was literally the only person who knew the entire concert in her head, and while also a performer, and it's not encouraged, to have multiple roles in a performance. It must have been my choice of words towards the end of the concert, acknowledging the visiting artist, that he up and left. He didn't do the final bow. And then before the night ended, I had a nice email from my superiors. I know my intention wasn't to make him feel undeserved, but it was a big check for me on many things. Like if you're organizing a concert, double check on your MC. For one, make sure that the script is done well beforehand. Have a plan B, C, and D. I think it's from that traumatic experience. I'm just like, oh my God, now I just need to have backup plans for everything, which I know has a whole level of anxiety, but I feel much more like, okay, that's not going to happen. It's okay.
It's like but it's like a double-edged sword. Like, you don't want it to be about, I was doing 10 things, bro.
Yeah.
Come on. Don't get this. But then at the same time, no one gets paid for this work. You know what I mean? So if you're in this type of job, you're like, man, the only thing he gets out of this is the applause of me making sure that he mattered.
Yeah.
And I try to do that with my own work as well.
Yeah.
I gotta say thank you to everybody.
Yes.
Because this work it's free, but it's not free.
Yeah.
People's time should be valued.
Yeah.
So it's like a double-edged sword. Like, come on, bro. We're getting it together. I wasn't supposed to be the MC.
Yeah.
Do I really have to do the email to explain to you, or do I just let it go? But yeah, you learn.
Eventually, and I think he was just so disappointed that he was still pissed off when he did the email, but a couple of days after, he's just like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm just like, well, we could have just talked about it. But for me, that was the biggest lesson learned, especially when I'm learning to deal with these professionals, to check myself and the people I represent in my organization, that there's only so far that I should go to making these artists feel good about themselves, professionally and personally. And there are other things that if they go overboard, then that's on them. But other than that, I think to cover myself, that was my biggest lesson.
Yeah. And you learn from it and you get better and better. And then it becomes such a long ago memory.
And it's come back twice. So it's good. So, the networking is really important to me.
Yes.
Yeah.